Hey everyone, AC here, and it's time for another speed build. As you can tell from the title of this video, this build was a struggle. It actually took me like 3 days to do this build because the very first time I tried to do it, I hit record, I filmed for 3 hours, and as I was finishing up the very last room in this whole build, my computer crashed and I lost everything. Not only was the lot not saved, the recording crapped out. I had it was a nightmare because it was like 10:45 at night and I just couldn't handle it anymore. So I went back to bed. Continued it a couple of days later, filmed it in segments this time just to be sure that it wasn't going to completely fall to pieces. So this build is something that I've had on my mind for a little while, and I'm calling it the tiny home community. The homes aren't really that tiny. I think if you were to actually take a singular one and set it as a tiny home residential, it would probably come out to be somewhere in the range between the tiny home and the small home, somewhere between the 64 and 100 tiles. And my friends and I have often joked for quite a while that one day we're just gonna up and move to a property and all build tiny homes and just live together. So I was thinking about that and I thought it'd be a really fun Sims build. So while it's not entirely practical in The Sims, but it looks really cool. So what I've done is I've started out with just 4 tiny homes. The base of them is identical. It's basically just a copy paste, which I wish we could copy paste full houses rather than having to do it room by room. But they start out with a base downstairs with just a very small like kitchenette type thing, mini fridge, microwave, and then the bathroom is all the same layout obviously, but each one's a little bit different in what they have inside. Then the plan was, in that little area right there fenced in, to have that be a gardening area. And then the bigger fenced in area on the other side is a playground, because some of the houses that I created have room for children. And like these are meant to be family homes. And then in the front corner, which is not built yet, is basically kind of a community center for the tiny home community. It's got a giant kitchen, it's like a game room. It's got a big TV with lots of couches, a laundry room, a big bathroom, storage area, all kind of stuff like that. It was really meant to be the community center where even though you can't have all this stuff in your tiny home because there's multiple people living there, we have it all right here. Which brings me to the third day of making this video. I sat down in order to finish it because I still had about an hour's worth of work to do. I had started the community lot, and you'll see the point I get to before the footage changes to straight up screenshots, because I have been changing around what I use to record. I'm eventually gonna move to multiple screens, a new PC, all of that stuff. So in addition to that, I've been wanting to split my audio tracks, because I think when I record my Let's Plays, it's a little bit hard for me to do the audio part because I have to rely on my microphone to pick up the game sound as well as my sound, and everything just kind of muddles together, and the game's not loud enough, or I'm too loud, or it's a mess. So I was using OBS, trying to use OBS, learning how to use OBS. And it was doing something funky, and that was the problem I was having. I think with some of the recordings, I recorded part of it in OBS, but then when it did the recording, the resolution was off, and I was gonna have to crop it, which is why the first half of the speed build probably looks a little strange, a little less defined, because I had to adjust the resolution. So to record the second half, I went back to using what I've been doing this whole time, which is the QuickTime screen recording, because especially with a build, I don't need any audio in the build, so it's fine. So I sat down this morning to do it, and I thought I was gonna be smart and clicked record on QuickTime, before I opened The Sims, and when I closed it out, I did that twice, not paying attention, and when I came back into it, sorry for the squeaking, the dog has entered the office. When I went back to check the video, I had a 4-second clip. I had a 4-second clip and a 3-second clip of an hour's worth of work. I was very upset. So rather than delete half the build and redo it, I just took some screenshots, and that's what we're gonna do. The base of it's all laid out. The community center gets part of the way done. It's just neat. It's lacking furnishing. It was really the outside details that were missed the most. I'm gonna get it eventually. I promise. OBS is just it's a beast. Me trying to figure it out. I played around with it a lot, figuring out the right mode to play in. If I even tried playing The Sims in windowed mode, that took the quality way down. I think it's a resolution problem, and I'm just not quite sure what the right settings are going to be. So I think once I get a second monitor and can monitor it real time, that's going to be a big help. So anyway, we're already on to our second house. As you can see in the first house, I did like space for a dog to eat like a dog bowl. I put a bed upstairs, little toy chest, and I made that one with mostly tiny living things. And then upstairs you got the dog bed in the parents' room, and then downstairs is a room for a little girl. In the second house, I didn't give them a TV. I tried to vary what I did with each house. I really wanted to make each family that lives there have its own personality. So this family has twin toddlers, which the idea in my mind is that when they get old enough for kid-sized beds, the 3-tile beds, that lives in a world where bunk beds exist. I think bunk beds would be a perfect addition to the tiny little rooms. So up here we have the parents' room. I think these are the 2 houses that are made to have kids. The other 2 houses are actually not made to have children. I did different things with that downstairs room. But I really wanted it to just seem like this really fun, bright area. I did the fencing along the top, and as you can see, I actually continued that fence line through the open part of the house on that second story. For 2 reasons. First, I just think it looks cool. Second, when I stopped the fencing at the house line, it still popped through. I noticed this the first time I did this 3-hour build, that it was popping through on one of the houses, and I somehow fixed it on one house. I couldn't figure out how to fix it again. So what I just did was drug it through all the way, and I think it looks great inside and out. I think it gives it just a little bit of an intriguing vibe. So in this third house, I started in the back, and I actually made it into a music studio. This house in the living room area is probably the blankest of all of them. I didn't give it a coffee maker. I didn't do anything like that. It's just got a TV and a couch, and that's it, because I figure the person that lives in this house, or the people that live in this house, spend most of their time in the little studio making music. Because upstairs, this is actually the only house that does not have a double bed upstairs. It has 2 single beds with a room divider. I really wanted to vary how this house, I wanted to bring something different to it. I didn't want it to be kids live downstairs, adults live upstairs, everything the same. I wanted to give it a little bit of a variation. So I put some room dividers up here and did 2 single beds with some single dressers. So it's siblings, just roommates, trying to save a lot of money. Not a couple, basically. And in this last house, I did an office instead of a bedroom with a computer and bookshelves, and I think I ended up putting a cat litter box in there. This house I built set up for a cat, and I like how I tried to just give each house a little bit of a personality, because I feel like if I tried to do the same thing for all 4 houses, it would get super boring, And I would just put the same thing on every wall, which I already have that problem. I have certain wall decorations that I really, really like and tend to use all the time. This one, I'm trying to recall, I don't think I put a TV in this one either. I think I just did a love seat and a chair. I don't think I put a TV in this one. But yeah, I was extremely frustrated with this whole recording process. I honestly cried the very first day because the build was so wonderful, so perfect, and then my computer just crashed. It crashed 3 times that day. It hasn't crashed since, so I don't know what the deal is with it. It was giving me, I have a Mac, and it was giving me a kernel problem, which is like a software issue apparently. And I don't know. The only software I can think that it may have a problem with was I downloaded some audio capture software, because with Mac and OBS, in order to get the desktop audio, you have to download another capture program, and it works with that, and there's a whole bunch of mess. And I love my Macs. I have 2. I love them more than anything. I love all of my Apple products, but it's starting to drive me crazy when it comes to making these videos. So I am very much counting the days till I can get a PC. I mean, it's gonna be a while because I've got a bill I gotta pay first to then get the PC, but that is, it's coming, I promise. I'm hoping by the end of the year, crossing all of our fingers. In the meantime, I'm going to learn how to do it properly. So here we can see I've started on the community center. It's giant. It's huge. But, I mean, if you look at this community, you've got 11 people plus friends coming over. So I wanted it to be a place where it's kind of like a tiny cheat. Yeah, like, yes, you have a tiny house, but over here you have this giant building that has all of the other stuff. So I just did like a public bathroom type deal using the Discover University bathroom stalls, which are amazing. I love them. And then this room, I originally was making a really big storage room, which was a pain in the butt because you have these metal boxes or metal shelves. The file boxes don't snap to them. How does that make any sense? You can't put hardly anything on those metal shelves. It does not make any sort of sense at all. So I had to do a lot of cheating, figuring out how to get those boxes up there. Eventually it worked. And I really like the little storage and pantry area, and then I made a laundry area off to the side. So here we have our screenshots. The first set, that's just what all of the bathrooms look like. So I only included one bathroom. It's just gonna run through every, room in all of the houses, and then it's gonna get to the really fun stuff, which is all of the exterior things that were not captured in the recording, and the interior of the community center with all of the fun stuff. So I just think it's just super nice, bright, full of plants, full of life. And the interior, I tried to be as colorful as possible. I know I have a tendency of getting a little bit bland just because of my style is very much more natural, muted tones, but I really tried to bring color into these builds. So here's the finished garden. I went through and made actual lines for planting. We have our planters, our bees, the clothesline. I didn't put a wash tub, but I figure some people may want to hang dry their clothes. And finally got to use those lights. And here's the playground there's a toddler area, and then we have our children's area, jungle gym and a swing set. A little community area with a fire pit and some picnic tables, and those lights I've been trying to use in a bike rack for everybody to park their bikes. So here's the interior of the community center. We have our movie area with karaoke machine, chess table, games, ping pong, foosball, don't wake the llama. And we have over there is our eating station. So we've got a couple of big tables, big nice kitchen with espresso machine, tea maker, anything you could think that you could possibly want to make meals for these large amount of people. Bathrooms, storage area, and I just think that it came out really, really well. I absolutely love it, especially with all of the trees. I spent a lot of time putting the trees in and just once again, I'm going to reiterate that I was able to use the string lights. Finally! I've been trying to use them for ages and it finally worked. So that's where I'm going to leave it, you guys. The build that ruined my life. Finally complete and done. So give me a like, a subscribe, and put a comment down below if you liked the video and tell me what other builds you would like to see me do. I'm having so much fun with this channel and I'm absolutely loving sharing with you guys what I'm creating. So I hope you guys have wonderful days and I will speak to y'all soon. Bye now.